Ahead tonight, police on the scene of the latest murder, and you'll be shocked at what they found.
Plus, the Prime Minister says mobile liberalization is on its way.
And Cuban protesters intensify their efforts at a Bahamas boycott. Janine Noel Ferguson has the latest from Miami. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
A decomposed body found in the South Beach area today, leaving investigators searching for clues. Now, we understand that the victim is known to authorities as he was wearing a monitoring bracelet.
This morning, a fisherman made the discovery in bushes near a waterway. Police say that 2 cartridges were found near the body. However, they could not say whether there were any gunshot wounds. But the victim's T-shirt was stained in blood. Police Superintendent Paul Rose says the male victim is believed to be in his early 30s and is said to be a resident of Killarney. When asked how someone supposedly being monitored was apparently not, Roll had this response.
You need to refer that to the monitoring center. Because if something like that, they should have alerted. I couldn't speak to that. Yeah, I'd say y'all could go see them and let them answer those questions. It's still early, so give us a chance to have all those questions answered. We have those same questions.
Earlier this year, another male was found dead in bushes with an ankle bracelet on. During the budget communication, Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Knowledge recommended that police officers needed to be in the monitoring room of the ankle bracelet system to keep track of those on bail. Now, liberalization of wireless communications will also come into effect next year. Prime Minister Perry Christie confirmed today that this will take place either March or April.
Now, Mr. Christie was answering questions from the media on negotiations between government and cable and wireless executives to regain the lion's share of the phone company. The Prime Minister said those discussions were complete and he's optimistic about the future of the sector.
The country wants to have liberalization. Liberalization will be very good for the country, and so I expect that to begin in earnest in March, at the end of March, April next year, and we will move then to select another cellular provider or a number of them, depending on the circumstances.
More than 900 people have registered for government's national training program. And despite some hiccups, officials say so far, so good. Administrators are reviewing applications as they prepare for studies, which begin in 2 weeks. Statistics show that youth unemployment is more than 30%, and that's why Program Director Agatha Marcel says they're targeting those in the 16 to 25 age bracket.
That's our major unemployment, we call it at-risk group. So it's to try to help them first, and then, you know, other people, 26, 27, 28. But the key is to have no skills, because all we're offering is entry-level skills, which is not being done by the agency, but the skills training is being provided by industry training providers because they are the experts in the industry.
Now, the workforce prep program runs for 4 weeks. Following that, Marcel says only 625 participants will move onto the skills training programs for 10 weeks. And as they keep pace with international standards, Marcel says the agency is partnering with a leading vocational education center, City and Guilds.
The reason for partnering with City and Guild is so that we could have a standardized, consistent content to the program, so that you don't send somebody out to provider A and they're telling them one thing, provider B is telling them something else, but everybody is hearing the same thing. And the beauty about it is we will be able to assess them, not necessarily on the written word, but on they can explain and demonstrate what they're able to do. And I think that's a wonderful thing for these young people, because not everybody was meant to be academic.
A national task force was launched today with the goal of developing a national strategic plan to end gender-based violence in the country. Gender-based violence is a global problem which the Bahamas plans to address as it charts a plan to address the challenges which in most cases turns fatal locally. Gender-based violence is any act of physical, sexual, emotional or financial abuse committed by a person of the same sex or opposite sex. Women and girls are most at risk to gender-based violence, but men and boys can be impacted. Minister Griffin says the task force has a number of goals and objectives to satisfy.
To assess and identify issues and priorities. B, develop a coordinated national response. C, develop a surveillance system for the collection, analysis, and protection of data. D, to increase public and professional awareness and education. And E, to assess and strengthen the criminal justice response to gender-based violence.
Now, a number of government agencies, including the Ministry of Health and National Security, the police force, along with non-governmental agencies, will assist the task force in its work.
Gender-based violence, in my mind, is a major threat to the social fabric and the health of our Bahamian population. We see so many Bahamians suffering as a result of this type of violence within the family and without. But not only is it a threat and a scourge, it is also an economic problem. Many families suffer from the fact that a home earner, a wage earner, is away from work because of this sort of violence.
In our first look at weather, the remnants of Tropical Storm Dorian remain a couple hundred miles to the north of Puerto Rico and will continue to move between the west and northwest over the next couple of days, and that track will take it right across the Turks and Caicos Islands, the southeast Bahamas, including parts of the central Bahamas, tonight and on Wednesday. But outside of our studios just now, mostly cloudy, temperature 86 degrees here, relative humidity 67%. Winds are out of the east southeast at 8 knots, barometric pressure 1,019.7 millibars. That's about 30.11 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Family Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
And straight ahead, Cubans in South Florida push for a Bahamas boycott.
And in sports, one team off to a fast start in the Government Basketball League. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Lux Men's Warehouse.